Alright guys, well, that cleaned up a little better. Looks a little better. Some of this stuff I ain't done cleaning out yet, but I'll have to blow it out before I completely put it on, but yeah, at least it's clean this side. I turn a pressure washer on heat, and it really helped out quite a bit on this. I mean, now that stuff there doesn't want to come off at all. I got a new seal to put in here, but I suppose I'm just going to wait until I'm ready to put it together. It's close. All the parts are here, and now that this is cleaned up, you can see a little better where the chain was slapping. It's hitting it here, 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 in here, and then some on this webbing. I've seen them a lot worse. I've seen them where they're ground into here, where they've been hitting the case so bad that the case is kind of thin. So looks like we got it in time, I guess. But anyways, they're coming along. You know, they're aluminum, so they don't really clean up all that well. If I had a bead blaster or sand blaster, I'd probably blast them and paint them. But yeah, I guess it don't matter. I guess the repair is more important than making these things look pretty. But anyhow, alright, we'll bring you back once we're getting it ready to go. You knew I wasn't going to leave them alone and not paint them. Still got to change that seal out, but I figured I'd do that after I painted it. Valve covers aren't exactly great. None of it's great, but I don't know. I think it looks better, at least for a little while. Okay guys, we're back on the Lincoln, and I'm getting my timing mark set up here so that I can take it all apart. You see, I got my little OTC tool here, and see that pin over there, that dowel pin that stays there, that's what we line off of. Alright, so that puts the crank at top dead center. Now, these cam phasers, you see how it's got an L on it with an arrow pointed? Alright, so right there should be two different colored keys, and there should be one at the bottom. Now I've looked at this chain, and I haven't seen a discoloration anywhere. I haven't seen two links together or a single link like the replacements. So I'm not sure if this is an aftermarket chain, somebody's been in here before. It sure didn't seem like it, but then again, I do have an R on this one, like somebody changed that tensioner, and there's nothing on this side. So I suppose it is possible someone's changed these before, but I'm not sure. But I still just can't understand why someone would change one, because they come with an R and an L, unless, like I said, they're, you know, two different brands, or one just didn't get marked. They could have been replaced at the same time. But anyhow, I have looked over this chain. Well, it shows up pretty good in the camera, and I have not found a different color link anywhere on this chain at all. Not one. I guess it's possible that I overlooked it, but it doesn't matter. But something I do want to point out is, you see this L here, like this is the left, which is the driver's side. You can see that on the cam phaser. Now 180 degrees from that, you'll see there's another timing mark, which is not an R, it's just a timing mark. Now these are not different side to side, but the markings are. Okay, so what you have to pay attention to, they make it an L. When you come over to the passenger side, you're going to see that other mark. If I can get to it here. Too much crap in the way. Alright, so you see the mark here. That's the timing mark there. Now look underneath, 180 degrees out, and you have an L. Okay? So, you just need to be aware of that. Now, the way the book says to do this is you're supposed to take out 3 cam followers on the driver's side, and I think 3 on the passenger side, or something like that. Specific ones that are open and have tension on them while you're at top dead center, and when you take those cam followers out, it puts this cam at a natural resting position, so it's not going to want to jump on you because of valve spring pressure. I'm not going to do that. For the last 4 or 5 I've done in the car, I'll tell you what I've done is I bring it, get all my timing marks up, I take vice grips in between the journals of the cam here, and I rest it against that fuel wear right there and cinch it down tight. And then I take a paint marker, okay, and I put a mark on the lobe to match here on several lobes, and I put a paint mark here. That way, if at any time it would happen for whatever reason, it'd move on me, I can line it back up. And then I do the same thing over here. Now, because it's going to turn, naturally it's going to want to turn counterclockwise. So I put one on here and I rest it against the AC line. So basically it comes in like this and it hits this AC line, which has a little bit of give but not much. Now, some guys think that if that comes loose and lets it loose, you'll bend a valve. Well, I don't know that it will or won't, but I find it hard to believe that there's enough spring pressure on these lash adjusters and cam followers to let it snap and bend a valve. You would think that it would compress a lash adjuster first, but who knows. So, but that's the way I do it. So I've got all this ready. Now that I've got vice grips on here, I'll take a rag, I'll hang on to this, and I'll take an impact and I'll break that loose. And then we'll get all this changed out. I'll get it all stripped down, and I'll bring you back once we got it all back together and ready to go. There's a couple key things about putting these on with a keyway. I'll show you that too, but let me get it set up. I'll bring you back. Alright, so you can see the way I marked the cam. One on the journal, and then on 2 lobes. Now, once we're done with this, we'll take brake parts cleaner and wipe that off. We don't want to leave that paint on there. I don't want it to have the potential to booger up one of them roller followers. And the same thing on this side. It's kind of hard to see, but same thing. Now I'm ready to take this apart. Everything's marked, everything's set the way it should be. So let me get at it. Another thing to note here, when you take these out, these bolts, these are a stretch bolt. They're one-time use. You see that oiler hole in there? When you torque these in, they're torque to yield. And anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do, torque to yield means it stretches. It means you're going to torque it to a certain foot-pound spec, and then you're going to go so many degrees of a turn after that. When I do that, I'll show you the way we do it, but basically I'll put a mark on the cam phase with paint again and a corresponding mark on the nut. And once I go to torque it, you know, this is after it's snugged down to that first torque sequence, and then when I go to torque to yield is what I'm talking about. I'll put a mark here and a mark here. That way when I turn it, I know where I need to end up being. Plus, if I put the mark here and a mark here, I can always look back and see I've already done my torque to yield. So that's kind of an important thing for me anyways, because sometimes I'll forget stuff. So now everything's loosened up. I got both these out, and I'll start tearing this crap apart. I just use my little Bosch cordless impact for a lot of this stuff. Most of the time it'll break it loose, but now that I got it on camera, you know it's not gonna. Of course not. Here, I've had these, well, I've had it warranted so I can get the newer soft grip, because, you know, I seem to be getting a little more delicate these days. But anyways, it's a snap-on quarter drive ratchet. You see the head. It makes it nice for running as a nut driver. You know, real, you can hear that. Real fine teeth. Do dropping stuff. Anyways, it's one of my favorites. They make it in, oh, it's really on there. Oh man. They make it in 3/8 drive. I don't know about 1/2 inch. I've never looked at one for 1/2 inch. But, yeah, those are really tight. Them things must have been torqued by a gorilla. One mean feller. Alright, let's see what we got here, if they're new or old style. These are old style. Huh. Yep. These are old style. Give me a second here, I'll clean it up and show you. So, it basically is what I suspected. I believe these are the old ones. You see this here, there's a printed gasket on here of sorts. Well, it's blown out in one spot right here, one spot right here. Huh. Well, if this was replaced, it was replaced early, because it has the old style also. And this one's blown out also. See it right here. Does that show up good? You see that right there? That's where it's blown out. So, you know, both these need to be replaced anyways, which, again, this one's actually a little stiffer than the other one, so this has probably been replaced. But, anyways, doesn't matter. We're going to do things the way we think is right, which is replace it all. When in doubt, rip it out. Get this crap out of here. I like to inspect what we got and what we're taking out. It gives me an idea of what we're up against here. You know, sometimes it'll tell you a pretty good story if you just look at what you got. Sure, after the video I just put up, you guys are probably tired of stories. Get this chain off of this side here. A little timing tool off of there. Now I get a better look at that chain. It says USA, and what's that say there? Morse, M-O-R-S-E. I tell you, folks, I don't see a mark. I don't see timing mark colors on this anywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have them timed. You can simply clean them up like this and mark these two, and then clean this one up and mark that. That would be your crank, and this would be the cam phaser. So this one would go, the timing mark would go right between these two in this section, and on the crank it would go right on, the tooth would go right in that one. Now, see how this chain's got some wear in it. It's not horrible, but you know, it's got some wear to it. And inside, man, quite honestly, that inside looks pretty good. Not bad at all. Doesn't matter. You know, everything's like an investigation here, right? You got to see what transpired, what happened, what let loose, what didn't. This one's a little tighter. Okay. Guess I kind of made a mess there. That's alright. We'll clean that up. Yeah, I'm not seeing any real significant wear on this, but you know, the problem is usually always on this passenger side, is usually the one that breaks, which this doesn't matter to us for replacing it all. Let me get my other socket. Better wipe my hands off. Got oil all over me now. Get the rest of this chain guides out of here. There we go. That's a good girl. I'm gonna have to get my leg stretcher. I can barely reach this stuff. I got that tail end of the Lincoln up in the air. Yeah, see, that's had some wear. Let's see if this will show up for you. if you can see that in here. See where it's starting to come apart right there. There's a few other places like that too. Now, if you notice, you get a long screw and a short screw. You know, the older I get, the worse my memory is, so that's what I do. Same thing here. Two different sizes. Okay. Second chain. See if that says. Say Morse. Yep, says Morse also. So liking this, they're both of the same vintage. It's pretty good. And again, I don't see any timing marks, any discolor, any keys that are any different, any links, I guess. I don't see anything that's got an indicator on it. So these are probably factory chains then. I think this motor was built, I want to say they milled these in Canada, in Windsor, Canada. Alright, I'm going to take this cam follower, this cam phaser off. Now, this has an alignment pin. You see that in here? It's very important that that goes back on the cam in the right position. If that doesn't get in the right position, it will destroy the cam, for one, and it will actually end up bending valves, or has a potential to, I should say. Now, we're not using the washer. You see there's a little washer in here, crush washer for sealing. We're not using that. Not using this phaser at all, but we'll lay it off to the side the way it came. So if I have to look at it later to see look at something or try and figure out what happened about something else, I'll know which one was which. Because everything is like a mystery investigation. I'm trying to see if there's any manufacturer's marks on this, like it was built by someone else, but I believe that says, can't see, looks like it says Fumoco. Let's see. That has an original Ford part number on it, so whether it came from Ford or not, I don't know. Wish I could see a date on it or something. Or it looks like a part number that looks like, yeah, it says Fumoco right there. So this is probably original. So original bad design. Alright, so guess I'll get this somewhat cleaned up here, get a rag stuffed down in that oil pan so I'm not knocking crap in there, because I got to get all this cleaned up. So I'll get this cleaned up and I'll bring it back once I got it set up and ready to go together. Alright guys, so I took a minute to pull this timing gear off, and I want to show you what I found. I mean, look, you can see where the chain was starting to wear into it, and there's a couple places where you can see the actual, well, it's not focusing very well. Like here you can see right in that crack where the metal was actually starting to come apart, you know, starting to wear into the gear. So anyways, it's like everything else, right? We want to take it apart, we want to inspect it, we want to make sure there's no other problems. So I guess where we're at was both of these, yeah, make sure I'm telling you correctly, yeah, both of these cam phasers on this thing are original. Hose this all out with brake parts cleaner pretty liberally, and I take a blowgun and I blow out all the holes, and then right in here is where the timing tensioner sits. I want to make sure that hole's especially clean, make sure there's no obstructions in there, because that's where the oil pressure comes into it. And you can actually see on there, see how clean it is right there, and how clean it is in this area. those are the two places where the gasket was blown out, so oil was blowing past. And on this one, you can see clearly right there and right there where the oil was blowing past. Now I have to wipe that down real good. You see where the remnants of the gasket's still there, but I wanted to blow that out real good, so let me get these cleaned up and we're about to go together. Well, I think I know why he's having good success with these. 1022 F393 10220 F393, and look what they did here. What do you think it said right there? I'll turn that around for you. Maybe you guys can read that. FOMOCO. So what you're getting, I'd have to tell you, is you're getting a Ford phaser. That's why he's having good luck. I can't believe you didn't know that. Huh. Well, isn't that something? Well, here's something else I noticed. Looky there. That's a dowel pin. See the dowel pin that's holding the spring here? That dowel pin is either pushed all the way down in or broke. One or the other. But isn't that something? So before they box it up, because this was in a shrink wrap package and then in their box, they grind off where it says FOMOCO. Isn't that something? Well, I'm glad I did that, because these were $90 each less. Or $90 for both. I don't remember now. Let me get the other one out. No confusion on this. Let's take this out of the bag here. Let's see what we got on this one. Oh, well, looky there. Folks, what do you think? I think we got Ford parts. That's what it looks like to me. Well, that's a happy little surprise, isn't it? You know what they say, every now and again, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Well, I'm pretty pleased about that. 2 FOMOCOs. Great. Alright, well, let's get these things put on. Alright, so don't forget that orientation, that pin. See that round pin right there? That has to go right there. Okay? Don't force it. Just wiggle it back and forth. Make sure this is good. The end of the shaft is good and clean. And just put it on there and wiggle it back and forth till it goes in, until it's seated. Try not to use the bolt to draw it down. The bolt should just hold it tight. So let me get it on there. Okay guys, a couple things worth noting. If you are going to reuse your original timing chain tensioners, which I don't know why anybody would, honestly, I mean, unless you just replaced them. But if you are, there is a right and a left to these. Now, all the aftermarkets I've ever come across have, see that R? It's like digitally engraved in there, and there's an L on this one. However, if yours don't have that, it's not really a big deal. Just look for this. You see that hole drilled in here? Okay, that is on every single one that I have ever come across, and it designates it's the driver's side. See that one? It has this hole right here also. So if you ever get confused, that's what you're looking for. Okay, so that'll be the driver's side every time. I'm sure they're different. Must be for the way the oil comes in, I imagine, but nonetheless they are different. Alright, I got one tensioner to go on each side in the chain, but I thought it was worth noting. Thought you guys get a kick out of that. I saved some money by buying the standard ignition, but sure looks like I ended up with Ford anyways. Also, there's another thing I want to show you. I looked at the back of these chain guides, and they've got Ford part numbers that match the ones we took off. So is it possible that what was on there was from Melling, or is it possible this is just Ford stuff reboxed? Or is it possible they make this for Ford, put Ford's part number on it, and send it to Ford, but also box it themselves? I don't know. That's for some greater minds to ponder, not me. Alright, I'm going to get this together. Okay, it's all on. Only thing left to do now is torque it all in place. You see my timing marks here. This is what you're after. This is the left side being the driver's side. Now again, they're not sold as left and rights, but it does have the second timing mark. So if it was on the right side, you'd see that R. I'll show you what I mean here. So hard to get in here for you guys to see. Yeah, the sun's shining pretty good, huh? Usually the sun's a good thing. There you go. So then there's the R for this side. And then the L would be 180 out. Okay, so the next step I have to do is torque down the chain tensioners and torque down the cam followers. And see the bottom. You see the dot down here. I guess you guys can see that. You see where the black key is. You gotta make sure you got both of them on. And it's kind of hard to mess up, but I guess it's worth noting the driver's side goes on first because it goes behind the passenger side. But I'm going to torque this down, and once I got it torqued down, I'm going to probably call it quits for the day. I got some other things I got to take care of. I don't have a whole lot of time in this, but also today I cleaned up the timing cover and the valve covers and painted them. So hopefully we'll get done with these repairs and get rid of some of these yard ornaments we've had laying around and get back into some really good projects. I bought a truck that I've been trying to find one for, well, probably 10 years, and I found one. It's not as nice a shape as I wish it was. It's an old truck, but I got a really neat plan for that. It'll be pretty interesting, but I gotta get this dumb crap done. You guys are probably getting bored of this stuff, and I know I'm tired of fixing crap. I just want to get on the stuff that's interesting. Alright guys, everything is on, torqued. The timing chain guides, my spec is 7.4 foot-pounds. Check your own, because I don't know if somebody's manual will be the same as mine, but that's these 8mm headed bolts here. The tensioners, my book says 18 foot-pounds, and then the cam phasers are 30 foot-pounds plus. You see what I did here? Made an index line here. I made this line straight up and down, and it's supposed to be torqued to 30 foot-pounds plus 90. So I went from here to here. That way I know it was done. And I did the same thing on the other side. It's just kind of hard to see because of, you know, everything there. And I've rechecked all my timing marks. Let me see here. Just pull this off here. See where I'm at here. Keyway's on. Keys are on. And keys are on. And let's see if you can see that better this way. There we go. So I'm straddled the R, straddled the L, and my bottom's on. So, all intents and purposes, the timing cover's ready to go back on. Now, there's one thing I'm going to do before I forget, because if you forget this, you'll wish you hadn't. This is called the tone ring, okay? This is what the crank sensor works off of to tell the ECM when it hits number 1 top dead center. Alright, produces a DC square wave, what I believe that is, and basically it sees on off all the way around here until it gets to this wide spot, and then it becomes off for a longer period of time, and that tells the ECM that yes, that is the number 1 cylinder. Now this does have a front. It's kind of important here. Can you read that? There you go, front. So I put that on right now, because if I don't, I'll forget. Even though it's not its final resting place, because I'll have to pull this towel out of here, but I don't want to pull that rag out until we're ready. But everything's in, everything's ready. The VCT solenoids, I guess I'll go ahead and do them. But that's it for this one. I'll bring you back once I got the timing cover on and all this stuff, because going back together is just like it came apart. We don't need to bore you with that stuff. I'll probably record it, but I don't think I'll show it. Look here, just for reference, you can see the paint marks I made. They're all still on line, and that was using that vice grip method, and they're still on over here. So I need to take a little brake parts cleaner, clean that paint off there. So anyways, now we're going back together. The timing cover should be dry by morning. Valve covers ought to be dry. I'm going to go ahead and change out my variable cam timing solenoids. That way everything's complete and ready. And then tomorrow it's reassembly. I'll record it, but I probably won't post it unless you guys want to see it. But you know, it just goes back together the same way it came apart. So maybe I'll probably skip all that and then just go right to once it's time to start it, I guess. So, alright guys, I'm going to leave you with that. You know what I always say, if you like what we're doing, give us these thumbs up, we appreciate it. And leave your comments down below, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Don't cost you a dime. Alright, we'll catch you on the next one. Alright, so I went ahead and did it. Just changed them out. When you take these out, don't try and get these bolts out. The new ones come with them. It's kind of a shrink fit, that stamped steel here. Around that there's a collar, so that it's not meant to come out. Probably so it doesn't fall down in the engine, I imagine. But I replaced both of them. Now, something interesting. Pull both them out. Look at that. Not only that, see if this will show you. You see that crud there? So it's possible this is the one that was sticking open. And the reason I'm replacing these both is, one, because it's good practice, and two, is because when you drive this thing on the highway, when you come down to an off-ramp and it should go back to base timing, it doesn't. It stays advanced, and it hugs and chugs and clatters and clangs and makes all kinds of other noises I've never even considered. So one, is good practice, and two, I think that was the cause of that not going to base timing. So anyways, now it's ready to go back together. As long as my parts are dry tomorrow, hopefully by tomorrow around, well, who knows what time, but sometime tomorrow I should be back together and able to start it. I just wanted to show you that made in China crap. You know, I'm sure somebody thought this was a better deal, and you know, this may not be the problem. This may not be why it does that, but well, I got the valve covers off. These things are about $100 and some for the pair, so it's probably worth it, because for $100 I really don't want to have to take the valve covers back off and do it again. So, alright guys, I'm gonna leave you with that.